Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to what we called Elder's Wisdom. Had an elder moment.
How are you?
My lovely friend Juliet.
Hi. Are you feeling older than last week?
Do I feel out? I can't remember what I felt like last week, so maybe,
Yeah,
maybe not. Who knows?
it does. It does feel like it's exhausting at the moment, and like
Overloaded, overburdened, overworked, over everything's over, isn't it?
yeah, over, and
Overwhelmed.
overwhelmed, not underwhelmed. And I'm going to be very glad to be over it. So I think we probably spend too much time, you and I, Marion, it just like watching, what's going on in the world at the moment. Our fingers on the pulse the whole time.
Yeah, that's why I find crazy sharers like that salty cracker. He's funny. I quite like listening to him.
Who's salty? Who's Salty Cracker?
He's a Canadian guy. No, not Canadian. Californian, American Californian guy, and he does just a news sharing kind of show, but it goes on for about 2 hours, and he's just really funny. And he swears a lot, and he goes into characters, talks to himself a lot, and just funny.
Yeah.
And quite for me, he sees things from a very similar perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So where all the threads are making a mess is where all the reporting goes on, but all the power and everything else is at a totally different level.
Say that a bit again. What's it?
All the power that controls all the little puppetry that's going on is at a completely different level.
Yeah.
It's deep state stuff, isn't it? So
It's all. I mean, it comes down the whole time to this deep state stuff, and it's really it's quite astonishing how much that interferes with our lives.
it's where they come from. I believe it's part of where it's like what we've got today is as a result of what they've grown and gathered and created and foretold. Because they've been the puppet masters, the directors, the producers. They've been everything, haven't they? Until for me, until a couple of years ago, maybe a few decades ago now. But yeah, until I woke up in this lifetime, I had no idea what a show it was.
No, I didn't have any idea until. I mean, it's gradually dawning on me more and more. We have lovely Debbie here. She's saying, "Good evening, both dressed up all fancy." Oh, thank you, Debbie. You lift my heart every time, Debbie. Every time we start this, and like we're struggling, like, oh, what's the purpose of all this? Why do we do this? And all that kind of stuff. And then you come on and say, "Hello, pussycats," or "sex pitters." No, what was it you said the other week? I don't know. And we're both really on time again. Wow, that's amazing. How did we manage to be on time, Marion?
No idea. No idea.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're getting a bit more organised, but it doesn't.
Home this afternoon, that helps.
You did what? You were home.
Home this afternoon, that helps.
Yeah, you were. So you weren't racing across London this time.
No.
So trying to make it. Time. Yes. So Debbie, how are you? Because you've been going through loads, haven't you, right now? And Marion and I were just talking about, we seem to be spending a lot of time looking at what's going on, and in a way, I feel like there's a part of me that's processing what's going on in the world all the time, and sometimes it feels quite heavy, and sometimes I feel like kind of uplifted and ecstatic that things are happening. Oh, Jack's here. Good evening, lovely people. Will we be talking about this tonight? Stella Assange addresses the crowd at the Royal Courts of Justice. Oh, no, I didn't have that on the agenda. I did want to mention about.
That was yesterday, wasn't it? Or did she talk again today? It was yesterday, wasn't it, when she spoke?
Yeah, it was yesterday. I don't know how to click on your link, Jack, unless should we show that link? How long is it, Jack? Or should we invite Jack on to show the link? I'm asking you, Marion.
How are you? All right.
He sent a link to YouTube.
Right.
So he would have to send it to me in WhatsApp or something for me to be able to click on and show the link. How long is it, Jack? He's not. He's very slow. I'm amazed, actually, Jack, that you're here, given that you've just done a journey across the country.
Oh, he's been travelling.
He's travelling. Yes. So if you put, Jack, if you put that same link into WhatsApp, oh gosh, Jack hasn't watched it yet anyway. If you put it in WhatsApp, Jack, we might be able to click on it if we have enough space, but we were going to mention to you.
What she says is quite funny. I can tell you what she says. Basically, she says that she's very relieved and she's grateful that the judges understood that the estates are putting lipstick on a pig, and that it's still too much to bear and they just need to drop the case. It's basically what she said. I loved the bit about the lipstick on the pig.
That's very creative, kind of descriptive thing.
Yeah. They were saying, are you gonna protect his rights? And the states were going, we'll send him over here and we'll let him know in court. Like, what?
Yeah. Well, they talk about it in Redacted as well, that he has been given leave to appeal, or to partially appeal, or partial leave to appeal. But meanwhile, he is still being kept in solitary confinement in Belmarsh and still being tortured. And his health is still highly at risk. They compared it to somebody else that was fighting extradition, that was being housed in a posh hotel and had total freedom whilst they waited their trial, their extradition proceedings. And why, that Julian Assange, given that the only thing that he's ever done, he's never committed a crime, but he exposed a crime that the American government was committing. He exposed all the stuff about the Iraq War, the corruption by Hillary Clinton, the PREDICTIVE files, the paedophile and satanic abuse, paedophilic and satanic abuse of children and so on by certain members of the White House, Podesta and Clinton and Obama and so on. He kind of opened the door. And of course, they're very mad and they're going to make him punish, make him suffer no matter what. But he's not committed any crime.
No, he just didn't get away in time, really. Edward Snowden had the right idea, didn't he?
Yeah. So Jack says it's 2 minutes. Anyway, let's go back. I just want to say that Debbie says that she's not good. She's afraid and getting worse, but I'm carrying on like the hero I am. Oh. So what's happening, Debbie, that you're getting worse? It's very hard to try, when you've got a kind of difficult illness, isn't it? A difficult, challenging thing going on, and like everything is so stressful on top of that, and trying to cope. I mean, my health is relatively good, but I still find it like completely overwhelming by what's happening at the moment. Like friends and family are really suffering. Really hard. So Debbie says she's like you, Marion.
The what?
Debbie says she's like you, and that you're a good inspiration.
Good.
Yeah. So how are you doing, Marion?
I'm all right. I'm still having just healing processes, and my vision is the same. So just finding a way through that is like a constant challenge. So I'm knackered, and then I'm sweating a lot.
Yeah, it's night.
15 years of hot flushes.
Non-stop hot flush.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
So not resting properly because I'm sweating when I rest. It's like when my body drops into the deepest sleep that this process starts sweating and I just wake up. So I actually can't stay in deep sleep at all. I just come.
Yeah.
It's a bit, I mean, working with the kinesiology, so understanding what it is that's actually going on, and it's very deep identity-based stuff around being helpful, actually, and getting on, grin and bear it. And believing, some parts believing that's what makes you lovable. And there's shame and humiliation in not grinning and bearing it. So part of the developmental trauma, that's what I've been looking into, Juliet, with the, what's it called, attunement?
Yeah.
The attunement program with the, what's it called, pride-based behaviours.
Yeah.
And just looking at this identity that we have that doesn't want to ever be seen in a negative light. That part of our identity, how easily wounded it is. And it's takes itself far too seriously, really, doesn't it? Really runs the show. Feels awful when you're in it. But it is just a part of the whole of the personality.
Well, it's so deeply embedded because it happens at such an early age. And, you know, we feel so vulnerable. But when we're not attuned to by our primary carers or whatever, we feel like totally unsupported. So it's like a big, you know, struggle all the time to trying to assure that we're loved, that there is somebody that's going to support us, and we'll sacrifice anything about ourselves in order to be supported or to have that feeling that we're important to somebody.
Yeah.
So, you know, that gets really, really hardwired into our nervous systems.
Yeah, and our behavioural patterns just completely controlled by that, avoiding that feeling of not lovable.
Mm. I mean, that's the most devastating feeling there is, isn't it? That I'm not good enough. Nobody will want to love me because of the way I am.
Yeah. It's so big. Shame's everywhere, isn't it? It's so well programmed in.
Yeah. Well, I explore those themes a little bit in my autobiography that I'm just about to publish the first volume. So the autobiography is called Unashamedly Me. I mean, it's like, how do you ever name a book, especially a book about yourself? And that it suddenly came to me, okay, well, it's really shameful writing this stuff about myself, revealing, you know, these things about myself. And so how about saying unashamedly me? I don't care whatever you think about.
I don't care what the consequences of this are, but here's all the shit.
This is me, you know, shit and string beans. This is me completely. Yeah. Because there's so many things when we're trying to find our way and we haven't had the care and the love, and there's so many ways we kind of do the best we can, but then from our adult perspective, years and years later, and you look back and you go, oh my God, I can't believe that I did that, or, you know, how embarrassing, or whatever, you know. But and then we have this mask on, like we try not to let people know that actually we feel really wounded inside, or we don't feel good enough inside.
We get so good at wearing the mask, we don't even realise that we're wounded under it, do we?
No. And that's the whole thing about the way the elite has controlled people by getting us to support all these celebrities. And it's like, these are our heroes, and we're all trying to be like this celebrity. And, you know, we're all trying to be perfect and sexy and clever and whatever, and have this mask on that we're so wonderful in every way. And then that's holding that mask, holding that appearance. Very difficult. It's nerve-wracking. So it's easier to take the mask off if you can, and like, okay, we'll just have to accept all day. This is me, you know, warts and all. Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly. So so that we're supporting the anti-celebrity movement here. We have no heroes, and we're nobody's heroes or heroines. You know,
Should be our own, shouldn't we?
we should be our own. Anyway, so let's see, what are we going to talk about this week? So I haven't heard. Debbie hasn't told us how she's doing, apart from that she's worse. So I hope you're not.
She'll be writing for us.
I hope you're not in even more pain, Debbie. It's very hard. CBD, have you tried CBD? Is that helpful at all? And how is Jack, having travelled across the country? Did you arrive in one piece? So whilst you're thinking how to answer those questions, you know, Marion, you came up with quite a few things that we ought to share about this week, but there's so much going on, it's really difficult. So I found it was really, really overwhelming, just beginning to look at some of the things coming up. And then I felt really bad, the thought that I would inflict this on people watching. But it's a bit like we have to shine the light into the darkness, even though it's uncomfortable.
We'll never be able to find a way through if we don't see what's there. We need to see what to avoid and where to go and what to build instead.
Yeah. So it's a bit like we're in a building, and we can take the 9/11 analogy, if you like. The building is coming down around us at this moment in time. Everything's crashing and it's terrifying. It's like every which way you look, there's shit happening, and it feels massively overwhelming. But it's necessary for this to come down in order to move forward. And it's like, it's hard to see what is real and not real, because those that are holding power want us at all costs to go on believing in their power and to believe that they're, you know, they want to maintain that illusion of their control. But it's a bit like, as soon as you say boo to the monster or whatever, you know, when we're brave enough to say boo and stand up, things begin to change already. I've seen quite a lot of positive things happening as well, like where people have been pushing back and they've cancelled some of the traffic control things and the transgender stuff. I mean, there's quite a lot of things that have changed because enough people have said no. So anyway, there's lots coming out, and that's necessary. And I thought it'd be interesting to step back to show people, if you haven't already seen, the kind of an example of the predictive programming that is the way that the elite control our behavior and seed ideas into our minds ahead of time. So do you watch Netflix, for instance? Because I know many people, my children, for instance, and myself, used to love watching things on Netflix, but that's a big place where they're doing predictive programming, isn't it?
Massive. Yeah, massive.
And the other place where predictive programming is happening is at these big global openings of things. So there was the opening of the CERN tunnel. You know, CERN, the nuclear...
Accelerating Hadron Collider, or whatever it's called.
Thank you, that's what I was struggling to get, yeah. So, which Sasha Stone is saying that's a satanic thing anyway, that punching holes in the and letting the dark forces come through. So there was a satanic ceremony at the beginning of that, and also at the Switzerland Railway opening. I'm going to put the links for this underneath so you can look and watch them if you want to. But most significant was the opening of the Olympic Games. So I found a little video on Rumble that talks about predictive programming. And I think if you haven't thought about it,